What if I told you I would give you $1,000 every month and all you had to do was put this little chip in your arm? Let's talk about it. Alright, so all fringe theory aside, the point of this video is not to sow fear, it's not to promulgate misinformation, rather it's to promote healthy skepticism around the idea of universal basic income. If you already know what universal basic income is, you can skip to this point in the video to hear some reasons as to why this may be a Trojan horse. But if you don't know what this is, universal basic income, or UBI, is an idea that everybody, no matter how much money you make, gets a lump sum every month from the government, and this is supposed to make up for the job loss as a result of increasing technological automation, artificial intelligence, robotics, and all these things that are going to be coming down the pike in the 2020s. It's quickly becoming a household term as presidential candidates like Andrew Yang, who are growing in popularity every day, are promoting this idea as a core part of their political platform to address the growing wealth inequality between the rich and poor as a result of increasing automation. And what some people have called the fourth industrial revolution, in which there are many jobs which simply are not going to be replaced as they have been in previous industrial revolutions. For instance, in previous industrial revolutions, the horse was replaced by the car. And if you were a person who trained horses at the time, you were probably thinking that, well, there's never going to be any jobs anymore. But of course, that was not the case. Now, proponents of UBI claim that the premature grievances of the Luddites of the 19th and 20th century cannot be compared to the current situation because of the advent of artificial intelligence, 3D printing, robotics, and all the rest. They argue that the majority of human labor, both skilled and unskilled, is going to become obsolete, and that new jobs are not going to be created, and that any occupation that emerges out of this new technological revolution will itself become fully automated. Now, we need to address a major misconception about universal basic income, and that is that it's a socialist idea. It should be known that on its face, yes, it indeed appears to be an idea in which the government is giving everybody money, and it's a do with wealth redistribution. However, one of the first proponents of this idea was Milton Friedman, who, as many people know, was one of the most prominent free market capitalists of the 20th century. He promoted something called the minimum income or negative income tax, which was basically the government giving people money without strings attached, as it is now, that they had the freedom to spend that money as they pleased without restrictions and without government bureaucracy looming overhead. He believed that this would have the effect of not disincentivizing work as modern welfare does, because if you are on welfare today, you know that if you were to go and work a job, that your welfare benefits would be cut. So it disincentivizes people to go out and actually work. Now, I'm not going to go into great depth with regards to all the economic theory as to why UBI is not necessarily a socialist idea, but there are numerous debates online about that particular issue that you can go and watch after this video. Now, let's just jump into why I think UBI may be a Trojan horse, an emphasis on may. Because as much as I would love to see everybody benefiting from the possible abundance of an automated world, we need to understand that socioeconomics is a chess game, and that nothing in this world is free and nothing worth having comes without a fight. So if some of the most affluent Silicon Valley elites are promoting this idea of a UBI, it makes me wonder, what is the real reason why they're promoting it? Is it just because they're good people and they want to help people? Well, that may in fact be part of it, but there may also be ulterior motives. So let's consider those. Now, one of the first ones and the most sensational is, what is going to be expected of people if they take this $1,000 a month? How many people do you think would accept $1,000 a month if they had to concede some aspect of their personal liberty or their privacy? I'm guessing that there would be a lot of people who would do that. Now, it may not immediately take the form of something so extreme like a chip, but there may be other concessions. Now, it might not require you to be out there looking for work, because this is something which you're going to get regardless of whether you're working or not. but it may be attached to some form of social credit system. So for example, if you didn't partake in certain mandatory medical treatments, or if you don't put your children in school, if you want to homeschool your children, you might not qualify. Perhaps you'll say something online which is deemed inappropriate by the powers that be, and that will disqualify you from the UBI program, and you'll be punished by not receiving your UBI for a few months. There may be certain things which are required of you that are not as draconian as the chip itself, but could be an incremental stepping stone towards something like that. If they do this universal basic income, you can bet there's going to be strings attached. What those are going to be, we're not going to know until it gets here. Now, the next criticism is one that's far more practical. You need to understand that when people are promoting this universal basic income like Andrew Yang, they're not promoting an extra $1,000 on top of existing Social Security benefits. So if you are already receiving, say, $700 a month in government benefits from food stamps and welfare checks and the like, then you're only going to be getting an additional $300. Now, of course, the benefit is going to be that you can now work without having your welfare check taken away from you. So the idea then is that this is going to incentivize productivity. However, this probably means that you can kiss any form of government subsidy for healthcare goodbye. Now, one of the benefits, though, is that you would be able to afford to purchase health insurance. But you need to understand that this is going to basically mean the end of universal healthcare. Now, another criticism I have is that if it is the case that automation is going to remove millions of jobs, and that these jobs are simply not going to exist, and that they're not going to be replaced by more creative endeavors, and not everybody is going to be a software engineer or an entertainer or things that machines cannot do. If that's the case, then what extra jobs are they referring to when they say that you can work on top of your $1,000 a month? If the motive is to give people this $1,000 a month to make up for the fact that their jobs have now disappeared, what jobs are they referring to when Andrew Yang talks about people working on top of their $1,000 a month and the $1,000 just being a bonus? What jobs is he talking about? Clearly, by his own rationale, these jobs are not going to exist. So people are not going to have anything to do. So what's going to happen then is your job in which you made $2,000 a month, you're going to be only making now $1,000 a month. With this new form of employment insurance called universal basic income, you are only going to be getting half of what you made every month. Of course, you're not going to have to work, but where has that other half of your income gone? Well, it's gone to the business that you used to work at, who now makes much higher profit margins due to their workforce being automated. So say, for instance, you work at a manufacturing plant, you make $2,000 a month. Your employer gets this new robot that does your job for $200 a month. Well, they're not going to mind giving you $1,000 a month essentially for free if it means they still increase their profits by $800 a month. So one of my main concerns with this is that the reason why so many wealthy people are promoting this idea is because it's going to allow them to keep their wealth and keep getting richer and richer, while everybody else remains merely at the subsistence level, but is still buying the products of these corporations now because of this UBI. So what's going to happen then is that these huge revolutions in technological advancement, which are going to essentially create an era of abundance unless we destroy ourselves before that time, the majority of the prosperity gained off these advancements is going to be by the elite and not by the many, who essentially are going to be in a state of arrested socioeconomic development. And my last criticism is that even though Andrew Yang proposes a value-added tax on big corporations who are automating their workforce to pay for UBI, it's very likely that this is going to be subsidized by the government, which is going to increase the deficit. Now, what's going to happen is that most people who have that $1,000, that money is going to go right back into the economy. I'm guessing probably 90% of it is going to go back into the hands of the biggest corporations in the country. Not a lot of that is going to go to the local mom and pop shops, because people aren't going to be able to afford to shop local on $1,000 a month. So what you're going to have is an increasing ballooning deficit in which every American citizen is essentially on the line for. Every American citizen is going to hold a proportion of the growing debt, which grows with every deficit every year. And thus what you're essentially doing is you're taking more money from the poor and putting it in the hands of these corporations, which are going to be generating higher and higher profit margins as a result of their automated workforce. These people won't have money left over to make investments and to buy stock in these companies. What started as a means to close the wealth gap is actually going to lead to much more inequality in the long run. Now, I'm as much a free market proponent as the next guy. I love the free market. I think it's a great way to go. But I would strongly encourage people to be skeptical about this idea of a UBI, and not for the thoughtless reasons that, oh, this is just a socialist policy and that's the end of it. It's much deeper than that. As I've previously indicated, some of the main proponents of this are entrepreneurs, they're capitalists, which is why the idea is being promoted on some of the more conservative media outlets. So let me know what you think in the comment section. This idea in the last 3 months alone has nearly become a household term. So I definitely do think this is going to be a hot button issue in years to come. And if it's not implemented after 2020, it's most certainly going to be implemented in the 2020s at some point. Because with a labor force participation rate of only 63%, and a lot of manufacturing jobs that just simply aren't coming back, the problem is only going to get worse. Now, I may be totally wrong with my concerns with regards to UBI, but it seems to be a way to preemptively pacify people for the massive job loss that's about to happen. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Canadian Prepper out. The best way to support this YouTube channel is to support yourself by gearing up through CanadianPreparedness.com or BugoutRoll.ca. Premium quality gear at the best possible price using the incredibly secure and easy to use Shopify platform. We offer free shipping to the United States for orders over $200 USD and free shipping to Canada over $75. So support the channel by supporting yourself.